Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
And a good Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to the show. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. The A-Train, Anthony Harmon, is our producer today. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live comes to you from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Par-Mar invites you to the state softball tournaments being played. Kicks off today over at Little Creek Park in South Charleston. Of course, you can watch all the games on the all-new Metro News TV app. Par-Mar, the official store of high school sports in West Virginia and the official store of the Secondary Schools Activities Commission. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. And the Dave Allen Show is brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including the all-new Thornhill CDJR. The Thornhill Motor Mile is where it is. Experience the power of the 2024 Ram 1500 with up to $4,500 retail consumer cash on select Bighorn models, most qualified through Chrysler Capital. See Thornhill for all the details. Visit thornhillcdjr.com or in person on US 119 and Logan today. Lots to get to this morning. The body cam footage in the Carper case was released to the media and to the public yesterday. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later on. Also on the show, Republican strategist Greg Thomas is here. First time he's been on since the primary. Be interesting to get his take on the results and the races headed into the fall election. As all these rumors continue about Joe Manchin, we're going to get to Mr. Thomas's take on that. One of those who prevailed in his race last week for circuit judge is Rich Lindsay, and he's going to join us a little bit later on. Plus your calls and text are welcome too. Now, this evening in Nitro, a whole lot of motorcycles are going to be rumbling into town as part of the annual Run for the Wall. Todd Taylor is a native of Chesapeake, and he is the West Virginia coordinator for Run for the Wall, and he joins us now from somewhere. Todd, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Dave. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Where are you right now, sir?
Right now, we are on one of our stops at Robley Rex Veterans Center. It's kind of like a veterans hospital here in Louisville, Kentucky.
In Louisville. How's the weather looking down there?
It was a little rainy this morning, but the skies have opened, cleared out a little bit, and it's about partly cloudy right now, so we're hoping we'll chase that weather in when we get home this evening.
Now, for those who may not know, the Run for the Wall is an annual event that begins in Ontario, California, I think, and it started 1 week ago out in California. Eventually will end up Saturday for the wreath laying ceremony, which is at the Tomb of the Unknowns at Arlington National Cemetery. How did you personally get involved in all this?
Back when the Raynell floods happened back in 2017 or 18, I do believe. Raynell Elementary is one of our schools that we, raise money for and everything. And we had a coat drive because, when that town got destroyed by the flood back in the day, the central route, which I'm a member of, we raised all sorts of money and bought all sorts of coats and pillows. We had tons of donations come in, and that's when I got started in it because they were helping our communities out.
Now, and I think it's a very worthwhile cause. I mean, you folks are set to arrive at 5 o'clock, and if I'm wrong in any of this, you can let me know. At 5 o'clock this evening at the Living Memorial Park in Nitro, there's going to be some ceremonies there, plus some opportunities for the riders, I understand, to visit the West Virginia Vietnam Memorial Wall, which is inside the Nitro Wars Museum. So we certainly hope that you folks get to enjoy your time here, because I imagine every stop along the way, there's something different going on, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct. Almost every overpass we go throughout the country, there's at least one person or a whole overpass packed full of fire trucks, emergency first responders, or just people out waving flags and cheering us on as we go by.
And it's amazing. And again, this has been coming to this area for a number of years. I know it's in Nitro, and there for a while it was at Valley Park, and now it's back in Nitro again. Just to see the response to this. I know a couple of our sister stations, 96.1 Superstar Country KWS and 987 The Mountain Wild and Wonderful Classic Rock, are going to be part of the group there. I do believe that are going to be welcoming you folks into town. As you're out on these rides, Todd, what's the feedback that you get from the public on these things? And how does it make you folks feel when you see all these people that show up?
It's absolutely unbelievable, the outpouring of support we get. This is a very well organized 10-day cross country run. Every breakfast stop, lunch stop, dinners, they're all donated to us, Dave. People work all year round raising money for us, because our motto for the run is, we ride for those who can't. We're honoring our military, our fallen soldiers, and we're not all veterans. Some of us are veterans, some of us are patriots. And, they spend their hard-earned money to see us for an hour, and then we're gone, but they work all year long just to come out and show their support to us and help us get to D.C.
And the planning, Todd, that goes into this thing. I mean, I know what goes on in the planning just on the local stops. And as you said, every stop along the way, and you started in Ontario, California last week, and you're going to D.C. Every stop along the way, somebody had to plan that, and somebody had to constantly keep in contact with the folks on the ride. Are you running ahead? Are you running behind? What was the weather situation, right? Because, you face all kinds of weather. You mentioned it was raining in Louisville. I think for the event in Nitro this evening, everything's supposed to be fine. It's supposed to be, I think, storms possibly later in the night. But there's a heck of a lot that goes into this, man, because it's a cross-country thing.
Yes, and you talk about the weather. We actually we got to see our first tornado the other day in Russell, Kansas. It was pretty impressive. It put us about 5 hours behind, but everybody made it through, and it was safe. So, but like you said, we're already starting to plan for next year, Dave. It's a 365-day process to get to, logistically wise, to move 400 plus motorcycles across the country.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how many motorcycles are we talking about here?
We're right at 300 to 350 as of a count this morning, motorcycles, not including our support vehicles and all that other stuff. So, we're right at 300, 350, 360 people.
And what were some of the stops that are similar to the ones at Nitro along the way, where you're going to actually spend a little time and get to grab some food and whatever? What were some of the stops? What were some of the places that you stopped along the way for that amount of time?
One of the memorable locations that we actually didn't get to go to this year is Junction City, Kansas. That was where we were delayed 5 hours for the tornado warnings and stuff. But that's the home of Fort Riley, Kansas. The First Infantry Division. That's one of the very memorable stops. The whole community comes out, and for a mile before we come into town, there's people out there standing holding flags. It's just almost like a tunnel of flags, and we get that every evening stop we go to. The whole community just comes out and supports us and cheers us on. It's just. I always tell my running saying is, it restores your faith in humanity that we have people that actually come out and support us and cheer us on. And, people just come out and donate money to our calls and, give us food and everything. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
And especially right now with the country as divided as it is in an election year and all the other things that are going on right now. It is nice to see that. Again, we're talking with Todd Taylor, who is the West Virginia coordinator for the Run for the Wall. And again, it started in Ontario, California last week. It's going to wrap up this weekend in D.C. They're going to roll through Nitro tonight. And Todd, I can tell you, as the son of a Vietnam veteran who died, my father died due to complications from Agent Orange. I can tell you how much we appreciate what you folks are doing. And something that you said there that I think is very important about the riders that are along the way. Some are veterans and some are not. And that's one of the great things about supporting the military. I did not serve in the military. As I said, my father gave his life in effect for this country. And there are so many ways that you can support activities like this, even if you weren't a veteran. And it's appreciated by veterans, I'm sure.
Yes. We always say we have a severe case that we get into allergies. Our eyes start tearing up when, you see that one person in the middle of nowhere on an overpass just holding a flag and saluting us as we go by. It's a very emotional ride. I've seen people break down, because some of these Vietnam veterans, they weren't treated as very well when they come home.
Oh, yeah.
And that is our mission, is to, there's some people that when they get to that, when we have our picture taken at the Lincoln Memorial, we walk over to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial and we lay a plaque, as a mission complete plaque. And I've seen grown men just fall. They can't do it. But our support staff, we have chaplains that come with us, and emotionally, it's just a taxing experience on some of these veterans. They just can't do it. But that's why we're all here together, to support everybody and lift them up. And that's what we do. That's to get healing. For the people that didn't get the greatest welcome when they come home.
All right, Todd. Well, we wish you the best of luck, safe travels. Again, you're outside Louisville right now. You're rolling to Nitro a little bit after 4 or 5 or so this afternoon. I know there's going to be a whole lot of people there welcoming you in. Hats off to the city of Nitro, Mayor Case Bolton, Joe Stevens, and all those folks there for pulling this thing together, and all the others along the way across this great country of ours that have made this thing happen. Todd, I appreciate you guys, and be safe, okay?
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you getting our word out and just showing everybody support. We appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Have a great day. It is 9:18. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by General Hardware of Winfield and Milton and General Lumber of Winfield. Planning a project this spring, please remember to shop locally. Check them out. Any of their locations for details, visit generalhardwarewv.com. Bigley Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. Coming up a little bit later on the show, Greg Thomas is going to join us. Also, we're going to be joined by Rich Lindsay, who was one of the winners in the election last year. So the body cam footage of the police investigation, the initial call into the complaint against now former Kanawha County Commissioner Kent Carper, was released yesterday, late yesterday afternoon, to the media, and it's about a 9-minute video. And it was first released and shown on WOWK television yesterday, released under the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, as we call it in the business. Now, the video was taken at Daniel Boone Park on May 15th of last year, and you know the story. Police were dispatched to the park after a woman called police and said a man, since identified as Kent Carper, had exposed himself to her. The patrol officer, and this is all public record. It's all in the video, which you can see. It's all over the internet. Again, kudos to WOWK for having it out there. I believe they had it out there first. I may be wrong about that. But that's the first place I saw it. The police officer was an officer by the name of Hart Childress. And I prefer not to get into all the details of the story, but here's the story as was reported by WOWK. The officer who responded, Officer Childress, is said to be the boyfriend of the administrative assistant to Kanawha County Commission President Lance Wheeler. Now, again, this is all part of public record. Carper was accused of sending this administrative assistant an email asking if she was interested in becoming a golf superintendent. Carper, of course, resigned from his commission post just days before the May primary. He remained on the ballot, but was defeated in the primary by Natalie Tennant. Now the commission has to pick a replacement for Carper. They have 30 days to do so and are taking applications as we speak. They're hoping to pick someone at a meeting on May 30th. If Commissioners Wheeler and Salango cannot agree, then a list of names will be sent to them by the Kanawha County Democratic Executive Committee. And I'm going to go ahead and call this one now, folks. Even though it's been announced, charges will not be filed, either locally or federal, against former Commissioner Carpenter. I still don't think this story, even though Mr. Carper is not facing any charges, that's already been put out there, I still don't think the story is going to be going away anytime soon, because there is a lot to be unpacked here from what was released to the media yesterday. You can go online, you can read it for yourself. I'm not going to get into all the details. The unedited video's out there. If you want it, go see it. The impact of Special Olympics extends far beyond the athletes themselves. Volunteers and supporters, touched by the unwavering determination of these extraordinary individuals, find immeasurable fulfillment in their involvement. The inclusive approach embraced by Special Olympics fosters an environment where everyone plays a vital role. West Virginia Enriched, in collaboration with Huntington, invites you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. Bigley Piggly Wiggly hotline 304 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. If you're injured, visit forthepeople.com. We're going to take a break, talk to Rich Lindsay. He's up next, back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
It's the season. Hey, it's Sydney, and it's time to conquer the road with the all-new Thornhill CDJR on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Get ready to experience the power of the new 2024 Ram 1500 like never before, with up to an incredible $4,500 retail customer cash on select Bighorn. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Cruise over to Thornhill CDJR or roll on down to US 119 in Logan today. Seize the moment and discover why Thornhill CDJR is your ultimate destination for unbeatable deals on the road to total savings. This is qualified through Chrysler Capital C Thornhill for all details.
Hi, I'm David McCormick, owner of Omega Commercial Interiors. Did you know that most office furniture originates in China and Mexico? Omega Commercial Interiors sells products made in America for businesses made in America. If you're in the market for quality office furniture, remember, buy local and call Omega Commercial Interiors in Morgantown and Charleston. We're a proud West Virginia company.
Welcome to Poca Valley, where we've been in business since 1908. Today, we serve Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties. We believe you deserve banking that provides friendly customer service. For all of your financial needs, stop by one of our 8 convenient locations. Call us at 844-782-2651 or visit us online at PocaValleyBank.com. Poca Valley, where relationships matter.
Member FDIC.
.924 of the Dave Allen Show. 580 Live presented in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Today, another Grand Slam school day presented by Chick-fil-A. As the Birds will take on Hagerstown over at Gomar Ballpark. 10:35, first pitch. For ticket schedules, Dirty Birds gear and more, visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. The A-Train, Anthony Harmon, our producer today. Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text 304-935-500. He mentioned earlier that the state softball tournament gets underway just a bit over at Little Creek Ballpark in South Charleston. You can catch all those games on the all-new Metro News TV app. Greg Thomas coming up a little bit later on in the show. 1 week and 1 day removed from the primary election. Canvassing now over. Certifications are coming. And this guy is set to take his spot on the judicial bench here in Kanawha County. It's Rich Lindsay. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I asked you earlier, I referred to you as judge-elect. I mean, I guess that's correct, right?
I think so. We had the canvass on Tuesday, and from after the provisional ballots were either accepted or not, my lead went from 95 to 110, and I don't think I didn't stick around for the randomized checking of precincts, but of the hand count. But as I understand it, there was no change from the hand count. So I think you're right. I think you're using the right term, I guess.
There was a lot more focus this time around, it seems to me, on a lot of the judicial races, not only here in Kanawha County, but I know I live in Putnam County, and there was a very contentious race over there between Stowers and Hoover, won by the incumbent Judge Stowers. A lot more focus on a lot of. I mean, maybe I'm incorrect, but it seemed like there's a lot more focus this year on judicial races.
I think that's right. I need to be careful as sharing my opinions as to the reasons why that is. But I will say that I agree with your observation that judicial races and county races, I think across the board there was a lot more interest. I think it's because in part, a lot of things have already been solved in the legislature to the extent that there's a supermajority there, and the constitutional offices, including the governor's office, there's really there's a question that really as to which Republican will make it through. But for the most part, if you're a betting person, there may be some surprises in November, but it looks like we'll continue down the same road that we've been on here for some time.
So, it's interesting that you bring up the legislature because I want to talk about that. You're a former state senator.
Yes, sir.
What experience, Rich, did you pick up under the dome that you think will serve you well as a judge?
Well, it's two I wasn't expecting that question, but I've actually got a pretty good answer to it. I hope.
Of course you do, because you're a lawyer by trade.
The first thing is that you, as a legislature, you get accustomed to reading statute and learning about laws that you may never have known existed. Obviously, a big part of what a judge does across the spectrum of types of cases and controversies is you look at different parts of the statute that as a lawyer you may not have experience in looking at and interpreting. So I think in that respect that prepared me. And then I think also, part of what a legislator does is they try to find a way to resolve controversies, and judges have a very particular role in doing that in their court. They must apply the law as it is, but there are also multiple and many opportunities where a judge is not only interpreting the law but is a arbiter, depending upon the types of cases before him or her. And so the ability to find a solution, come to resolution without it going to trial or without things getting to a head, I think is good experience for just about any profession, but especially for judges.
We're talking with Judge-elect. We've decided on that title. Richard Lindsay right now is going to be taking his place on the as a circuit judge here in Kanawha County soon. Now, when will you officially take office?
I don't believe I take office until January.
Oh, so you got nothing to do between now and then, right? Just
I've got to close up my cases over at the law firm. So
let's talk about that. I mean, So what goes into that? Because you are, as I said, you're an attorney and you've got a law firm. So what do you have to do in order to be a judge? I mean, you just got to say, okay, hand off to somebody else, or I mean, what do you have to do?
Pretty much. I mean, most of my cases already associate with a local firm. Since my days in the state Senate, in order to keep my practice and keep it going, we had to associate with another law firm to help us out while I was in the state legislature to keep cases on track. So I'm lucky in that most of the cases I have left on my docket as a lawyer, they're already involved in. I do have a handful of cases that I'm going to have to tie up here before the end of the year, and I think most of them I will be able to resolve. Obviously, there'll be a couple that I don't, and that's what you do. You talk to another attorney and say, hey, can you help Mr. and Mrs. Smith out in this case? Are you interested? And that usually works out. So that's how things are wrapped up.
Now, what kind of law did you specialize in when you were?
Personal injury. Personal injury.
Okay.
So folks who were injured through no fault of their own against those big bad insurance companies in the courtroom. So, but no. So that's the bulk of my practice. I did do a little family law. I did a little appointment criminal cases on the magisterial level. I had a couple on the circuit court level too. But I'd say about 80% of my practice was civil, 20% criminal.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you by Fresh Air. They'll change those heating and cooling unit air filters for your home, your retail establishment, your business, restaurant, or church, and they can custom build filters for you. 24-hour emergency service is available. Visit freshairfilters.us or call 304-440-1104 for Fresh Air, because everyone deserves fresh air. Okay, so you were a candidate for state senate, and you won your race a few years ago.
In 18,
and
yes.
And then you ran for re-election and you lost.
22.
And then now you ran for judge and you won. Talk about the differences between running for the legislative seat that you had and running for judge as far as the strategy goes.
Well, in 18 it was a different type of an election for me, because I really tried to play to the base of my voters. In 22 and 24, in 22, because of the redistricting of the 8th District, we went from a portion of Kanawha and a portion of Putnam to a little smaller portion of Kanawha, Putnam, Southern Jackson, Olive Run, and Olive Clay. And those rural areas weren't necessarily conducive to the party I was registered in. So I did everything I could to try to appeal and meet as many Republicans as possible and persuade. That did not work out. But I made the effort, and I made a lot of contacts along the way, especially here in Kanawha County, that probably helped me out in this 24 election. And so, I played the same type of strategy in both 22 and 24, which is the right way to do it, I think, especially with general elections. And the primary election is the only election for judicial offices. these are nonpartisan races. So not only is it good for you as an individual to meet people who may disagree with you and persuade them, but it's good politics to try to persuade them as well, because that's going to be the electorate. And we found out in this cycle that, I'm sure you read, I saw in the paper, where 6,000 more Republican ballots were cast in Kanawha County than Democrat ballots for this primary election. And so I think you got to go to where the people are, and you know, obviously you're honest with them if they're interested in what your party affiliation is, but then you have a good conversation as to what you bring to the table. And I found on the campaign trail that regardless of political persuasion, most people agree on, for example, keeping politics out of the courtroom. And so that's something I agree with as well. And so those are the types of conversations that we had. And again, it grounds you as a candidate. But should you be elected, it makes you a better elected official to know where the people are, because thankfully in this system, the people choose who their leaders are. So
I'll go with Rich Lindsay here. So have you started? I know that you just had the victory a week and a day ago, and you're still trying to wrap up things, you know, with the with your current job. But have you started to look ahead a little bit and think, okay, day one, here's what I don't want to have you on before you start, but have you started thinking about that? I mean, what am I going to do?
Well, I've already reached out to a couple judges here in the circuit.
Have you been sized for the robe yet?
No, I don't even want to think about that, to be honest with you. But I've reached out to a couple judges here in the circuit who I know, and asked if I could attend some closed door proceedings, just so I can get a better feel as to how they conduct those proceedings. And I said closed hearing, not closed hearing proceedings. And that'll be part of the process. I think that you have to go to, I've been told, judge school at some point, which I'll probably go to. Obviously, have to go to
judge school, Anthony. They have to go to judge school. Is that where they give you your gavel?
I don't know what they do. I'm hoping they don't, run me through the gauntlet.
Are they like jumping jacks and stuff like that, calisthenics? Or
well, who knows, man? I'll report on. I'll let you know when I know.
Reporting now from judges school.
So, but we'll see. Of course, I'm excited. Family's excited about it, and it's an opportunity to just, serve the community I love. And it's a wonderful gift that I've been given by the voters, and I thank them for it. So, you
kind of look like, and I mean this in the best possible way, you kind of look like Harry Anderson from Night Court anyway. You kind of got that thing going. It's one of my favorite shows in the 80s. You kind of got that thing going on.
And he was a good judge. He brought a lot of humor to the proceedings. So that's always nice.
Rich, I'm going to give you an opportunity, as I do anytime I have a political figure on that wins a race. I like to give you an opportunity to say thanks to people.
Well, sure.
You better start with your family, man.
Well, I mean, first, I just, again, thank the voters. Thank the voters, people who've known me, my entire life. I appreciate you coming out and supporting me and know exactly the type of person I am. And I thank my wife, as you mentioned, my family, Allison, who is a practicing physician's assistant. So she cares for patients 8 to 10 hours a day. And after over the last several weeks, in addition to that, had to pick up the boys and get them to their activities and sports and cook dinner while I was out, throughout the county. And so all the candidates get splashed. No one thinks about the spouses. Candidate spouses do tremendous work.
The entire family runs for office when you run for office.
Yes.
Even the dog ran for office.
Yes, absolutely. And then the guy who I worked with, Seth Greensage, who I think you've met or know.
I know Seth, very well.
He's a campaign guy that sells paint during the day and is a campaign consultant at night. So he is someone who can crunch the numbers and get you to the people who you need to talk to and to where you need to go. And I appreciate that. So,
but I did have one text here. We're not trying to get the cart before the horse, but somebody texted and wanted to know Attorney General next. I'm not making that up. That's a legitimate text here.
I'm just happy to serve. So let's just get through that. And, we'll see at another date in the future. But there are no plans to run for anything other than to serve the good people of Kanawha County.
All right, Rich, I appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hang out with me one second here. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you part by Pinnacle Consultants. We spend 90% of our time indoors, and our health risk for air pollution can be greater indoors than out. Pinnacle is the only accredited commercial lab in the state for asbestos and mold. Visit pinnaclecorp.net because what you don't know can't hurt you. I am, if nothing else, I'm a lover of animals, and I'm going to get this out there. I'm not much for people, but I do love animals. Last week, I had the folks from the Pick of the Litter Animal Rescue Group on the show. Now, they're having an event tonight at Buffalo Wild Wings in Cross Lanes, and I didn't have time to get them on the show this morning, but I told them I would mention this. Tonight at Buffalo Wild Wings in Cross Lanes, 4 to 9. You place your order and mention the group Pick of the Litter, and they're going to donate 15% of the price of your bill to the Pick of the Litter group. Again, tonight only, Buffalo Wild Wings in Cross Lanes from 4 to 9. Mention Pick of the Litter. That's the name of the animal rescue group when you place your order. They'll take 15% of what your bill is and donate it to the Pick of the Litter group. It's so hats off to the folks at Buffalo Wild Wings in Cross Lanes for doing that to help out these rescue animals. Also, I do want to remind you that I will be away from the Par Mar store studio tomorrow. Got to attend to some business. I'll be back on Friday. Dale Cooper will be in the host chair tomorrow. I'll be back on Friday, though. Friday is the return of Live on the Levee, so Jim Strawn will start joining us this and every Friday to talk about that, plus some of the musical entertainment sometimes come in studio with us as well. Kanawha County Commissioner Lance Wheeler, the president of the commission, is going to be on the show on Friday, as will Hannah Gardner with our weekly Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association. That's all coming up on Friday's show. Phone calls to the Dave Allen Show. Our service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. Texting services provided by Fruth, your hometown family pharmacy. We're going to take a break. When we come back after this, Greg Thomas is here. Back after this from the Par Mar store studio on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for shopping locally.
It's the season. Hey, it's Sydney, and it's time to conquer the road with the all-new Thornhill CDJR on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Get ready to experience the power of the new 2024 Ram 1500 like never before, with up to an incredible $4,500 retail customer cash on select Bighorn. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Cruise over to Thornhill CDJR or roll on down to US 119 in Logan today. Seize the moment and discover why Thornhill CDJR is your ultimate destination for unbeatable deals on the road to total savings. This is qualified through Chrysler Capital C Thornhill for all details.
Hey, it's Dave Allen for Par Mar Stores. And now that the warm weather months are here, you know where you need to be, your local Par Mar store. Heading to the lake, the ball field, or your favorite picnic site, or just working around your place, Par Mar has everything you'll need, from gas to grocery, snacks, and much, much more. Download the Par Mar app and sign up for the Par Mar Rewards Card. Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. If there's not a Par Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street has served 3 generations of shoppers since 1955 as the largest locally owned independent grocery store in the area. The Joseph family owners grew up here, so you know they're invested in the community. They provide the biggest variety of choice meats, the freshest produce, an in-house deli bakery, great wine selection, and more of your favorite brands. Every purchase gives you gasoline points so you can save at our pumps. Order online for pickup at BigglyPigglyWiggly.com. Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. No one beats the pig.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
20 minutes away from 10, the Dave Allen Show at 580 Live, brought to you part by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy tackles pressing health issues like heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, RSV, and more. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond the state of West Virginia. It's a valuable resource for all. Discover the latest episodes on WVMetronews.com under the podcast menu and start your journey towards better health today. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Fruth Pharmacy text 304-935-500. Greg Thomas is here. I'm going to get to him in a couple of moments. I do want to do this, though. On this show, we are nothing at all if not concerned about the community. All right. I got an email that I wanted to pass along to you. Nothing to do with politics, but something I want to pass along. The Stonewall Jackson High School class of 1974 is getting ready for their 50-year reunion this summer. It's August the 17th to be exact. And even in this world of Google and social media where you can seemingly find out anything about anybody at any time, sometimes it's hard to find people. And so they ask if because people listen, a few, 2 or 3, 4 or 5, listen to the show, and they ask if I would throw it out there. They're looking for classmates. They have a Facebook page, Stonewall Jackson High Class of 74, where you can contact Debbie Walker Hart at 304-444-7161. Debbie Walker Hart, 304-444-7161. Glad to try to help you out, Debbie, and good luck. I've been involved in my high school class reunions over the past years, and I enjoy it. It's not for everyone, I know, but if you're a member of the Stonewall High Class of 74, get in touch with Debbie, either at that phone number or on Facebook. Greg Thomas is here. Hey, man. How you doing?
Doing well, buddy. How are you?
You strike me, Gregory, as the type of guy that probably did not do a high school reunion type thing.
I went to like my 10-year.
Did you?
I went to one for my college. I actually had my 25-year college one coming up, but in our school, I went to Hampton-Sydney. Like they usually do a really good job with sort of letting you know about that stuff, and they kind of didn't. Like we started texting with some of my buddies, and everybody's like, I didn't even get an email about it. I don't know anything about it. And,
reunions have social media in a lot of ways, because I went to my 10-year high school reunion was off the charts. No, so I break the mic. It was off. Sorry, Anthony. It was off the charts. It was fan. Yeah. I mean, everybody, and then it just kept getting less and less. It's not because of getting old and everybody died. It wasn't necessarily that. It's just people keep up now on social media with who they want to keep up with. So there you go. No, all right. So enough about that. I want to talk about the takeaways from the election last week. Start with the governor's race. Give or take a little here, it pretty much went as the Rex repassed and Metro News Research America poll said it would?
Look, I think Morrissey had high name ID. He had a large core group of support that he maintained throughout the election. His campaign and PACs collectively raised like $17 million. And so anytime someone else tried to get up some ground on him, Chris Miller, started to put together a pretty good campaign and made a big push. And as soon as he got close enough, Morrissey's PAC smacked him down. And then all of a sudden, More Capito kind of did the same thing. And, he started spending his money and he got close. And that outside PAC came in and they smacked him down. I just think that core group of support for Morrissey, and I'd actually put together some numbers, but Morrissey in the primary in 2018, when he ran for U.S. Senate, he got 48,000 votes. And this election, he got nearly 75,000 votes. Now, look, we have a lot more Republicans. There were more people to choose from. But I just think it goes to show you that, look, Morrissey does not have a majority of the, this isn't some kind of mandate. He didn't have the majority of the Republicans. He's just got a really big core group of support that stuck with him through this stuff. And that was enough to push him through.
Had a text here, the waiting on you when you got here. It said, ask Greg if a large Republican field benefited Morrissey. I don't believe Morrissey, says a texter, would have won a heads-up race against Capito. Is there, and of course they want to know if there's any truth to the Manchin rumors.
I think Morrissey would have had a lot harder time one-on-one. I mean, no doubt. I mean, look, it doesn't say he would have stuck to exactly the 75,000 votes he had. There is sort of this I don't want to say it anti, there's just sort of a people want somebody other than Morrissey sentiment out there, and it got split up three ways. So, I mean, I think that caller's kind of right to a degree. I think this, and look, and as you know, I mean, I was sort of an anybody but Morrissey person during the campaign, but these Manchin rumors, this is ridiculous. I mean, it really is. I think, let's go back to that 2018, election that we talked about, where Morrissey, lost to Manchin in the fall. Fast forward from that, take that point, fast forward to now, there are 163,000 fewer Democrats today than in November of 2018, 72,000 more Republicans, 16,000 more unaffiliated voters. That's a swing of 250,000 voters. Now, these are registered voters, so they're not all likely going to go to the polls, but 250,000 voter registration switch. And Morrissey only lost by 19,000 the first time. So I mean, it's just, it's just silly. And look, the reality is Joe Manchin, after he voted for that Inflation Reduction Act, he knew he wasn't going to run for U.S. Senate again. He knew he wasn't going to run for governor again. And this is just I think it's just extremely selfish of the Manchin camp to keep kind of bringing this stuff up. And they do it every time, though, right? Every time there's a governor's race, he may come back, he may do this.
But who's responsible for it? Because here's the thing. Here's what I'm hearing. Look, I've got inside sources like like all people in the media do, and I hear, I frequently talk to people inside the Republican Party. There are Republicans. There are Republicans, Greg, that want Manchin to get in this race. There are Democrats that may not feel that Steve Williams is a strong enough candidate, and they want Manchin to get back in the race. They're there, and for people to just poo-poo them and say, well, these people aren't there. They're there. You know them, and you've talked to them, as Democrats and Republicans.
Look, they're 100% there, right? And that is sort of that good old boy network that everybody campaigns against. That's who those people are. Those are the people that no matter if the Democrats win or the Republicans win, they always win, right? Like that's who those people are. And look, even though I haven't always supported Morrissey, I think there's a few things that Morrissey has an opportunity to do well that could really amount to a successful governorship. And one of those things is to get rid of those kind of people, right? I mean, we still have a ton of old school Democrat lobbyists that worked against us the whole time. And now, they cut a few checks here and there, but they really work against us and they're not with us. A lot of our business association folks are entirely useless. And they need to go. They've needed to go for a decade or more. But Joe Manchin has kind of kept a lot of those people alive. I think one of the best things that I see about a Morrissey governorship is sort of flushing that out, right? And that's something he's going to do.
So are you supporting Morrissey?
Look, I mean, I think he's going to win.
Regardless of you're saying no. Let me back up. You're saying that there's no way Manchin's in.
Oh no. Look, I think there's definitely people trying to get him in. I'm just saying Morrissey will beat him like a drum. I think Morrissey will beat Manchin badly.
And do you think he would beat Steve Williams badly?
I would assume so. I don't know. I mean, Manchin obviously would be able to raise more money than Steve Williams, but I just don't think Manchin would do all that much better than Steve Williams. And I think the Democrats have to be hating Manchin right now, right? I mean, the Democrats that are left have to be hating Manchin because it's like, all right, we've got this new nominee. We've got a Republican that only got 35% of the vote or whatever he got. And the very first impression everybody gets is Joe Manchin doesn't think he can win and wants to be in there instead.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I said. God bless Steve Williams. Poor Steve Williams is standing there going, hey, hello. I've been successful. Yeah. I've turned Huntington around. Huntington's a whole lot better than what it was at one point. I mean, somebody spends a lot of time in Huntington. I can tell you it's better than it was. It ain't great, but it's better than what it was. But Steve Williams is over here going, hey, hello, I'm still here.
But that's a typical Joe Manchin thing to do, man. With Joe, it's always about Joe. It was never about the party. It was never about the state. It's always been about Joe. And it is, even on his way out. It's just, look at me. And so, look, Morrissey's going to, Patrick Morrissey's going to be the next governor. I think that flushing out some of the remaining remnants of this old Democrat machine is something positive he can do. I've got this line, right? Morrissey's not from here, but I think one of the benefits, he's lived here for a while now that he's been the attorney general, but he isn't tied into this old bureaucratic network we have here in Charleston. And the reality is a lot of that old Democrat machine is still left. Deep in the bowels of DHHR and Department of Education and Transportation and some of that stuff are just all these old Democrat operatives. And Morrissey doesn't have any and not only does he not have any connection to those people, those are the people that work against him. So I think flushing some of that out, getting rid of a lot of that is definitely, I think, a positive thing that Morrissey can do for the state. And then, look, he ran as I'm the most conservative guy, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing, So hey, do you say, Greg, are you supporting him or not? I'm looking forward to seeing the one, he's going to win, but two, I want to see that agenda, right? You ran as a conservative. It's hard in a campaign like that's all TV driven and, negative ads back and forth about this or that and whatever. Now he has a real chance to come out and say, hey, here's my agenda. Here's the first 10 things I'm going to do when I'm governor. And I think if he, puts that together and puts that out there, some of those people that were supporting Miller or Moore or Mack or whoever are going to look at that and say, hey, these are things that I'd like to see done.
But will those individuals, will they come out? I mean, Mac Warner, I think, has already said he's behind it. I don't know about Miller and the others, but will they?
I assume they will. And I
think
Capito? I assume so, right? I mean, I think that's the thing, though, right? I mean, Morrissey's going to have to come out and say, hey, here's my agenda.
But Shelley Moore Capito said last week she's the head of the Republican Party in West Virginia. She said that.
I've heard people make comments on that one way or the other among people that noticed she said that. Look, I don't know. And then, there is the speculation that there was, heck, I've said that before. I mean, there were people early on that said, Morrissey was running for this so that he could run for U.S. Senate. And there's no doubt Morrissey's goal from the start has been U.S. Senate, not governor. So maybe, what we don't know about that, though, does that mean it's Senate in 2 years or Senate in 6 years, right? Or 4, or whatever, Senate in 6. So I think that's the, I definitely think, I think he would be hard pressed to say that's not a goal of mine. But in politics, timing is everything. And, time will tell, what he's going to do on that situation.
Real quick, before we have to take a break here, somebody wanted to know your thought on the Blair loss. And I only got about 20 seconds for you to tell me Craig Blair losing.
Look, it was,
and Maroney. They asked about Maroney, too.
Well, that'll take longer than that. But, look, that Eastern Panhandle, you've got a feud out there between a couple different factions, and Blair got caught up in the middle of it. If anybody that knows Blair knows that he's not a selfish guy. He was a team player. He was looking at the whole, he looked more at the whole map than at just himself, and he got caught up in that. And it was unfortunate. I think it's going to be a real bad thing for the state Senate. That Eastern Panhandle is kind of its own beast, and a beast that has yet to be tamed.
All right, we'll be back right after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses live to make life better for you and your family.
It's the season. Hey, it's Sydney, and it's time to conquer the road with the all-new Thornhill CDJR on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Get ready to experience the power of the new 2024 Ram 1500 like never before, with up to an incredible $4,500 retail customer cash on select Bighorn. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Cruise over to Thornhill CDJR or roll on down to US 119 in Logan today. Seize the moment and discover why Thornhill CDJR is your ultimate destination for unbeatable deals on the road to total savings. This is qualified through Chrysler Capital C Thornhill for all details.
At Garib Dental Group, we love to see your smile. Take proactive steps towards optimal oral health with our comprehensive preventive care services. Our team of experienced doctors at 6 convenient locations is passionate about keeping your smile healthy and bright. From regular checkups and cleanings to advanced treatment, we are here to prevent dental issues before they start. Visit GaribDentalGroup.com to learn more and experience personalized care tailored to your needs. Garib Dental Group, where your smile receives the care it deserves.
Hey, it's Dave Allen for Parmar Stores. And now that the warm weather months are here, you know where you need to be, your local Parmar store. Heading to the lake, the ball field, or your favorite picnic site, or just working around your place, Parmar has everything you'll need, from gas to grocery, snacks, and much, much more. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
West Virginia, it's here. The all-new Metro News TV app has arrived. Metro News Television brings you our award-winning content to your connected devices. You can now watch on your phone, television, tablet, or laptop, absolutely free. Sure, we're still going to be on the radio and audio streams, but sometimes watching is just a little bit better. Direct links to each platform are available at wvmetronewstv.com. Metro News Television. Now you can watch the voice of West Virginia.
9:55, Dave Allen Show, brought to you part by Hudson's Pizza. Greg Thomas is here. Judicial races. Your take, Mr. Thomas?
Well, as you all know, I was very, very involved in one local judicial race where we came up short. And I couldn't be more proud of Ashley. Ashley Deem, she ran an unbelievably good race, worked hard, did everything she was supposed to do. The reality is the personal injury lawyers and unions went out and raised $1 million into a super PAC, and Jennifer Bailey's campaign had $800,000 for a county judge race. And we had about 200. I always thought we could get outspent 2-1, but we just weren't able to get outspent 4-1. So I'm proud of the race she ran. I'm proud of the race we ran. I do think the personal injury lawyers were much more disciplined. What they've done in years past is they'll go raise $1 million and spread it over 10 races across the state or whatever, and not be successful. They were much more disciplined this time. They spent their $1 million here on the court race and on the prosecutor's race and the school board race here locally. Look, the reality is for the conservatives here is we have to go back to partisan elections of judges and school boards. What's happening now is the state's very conservative, it's very Republican, and what you're getting is very liberal judges and very liberal candidates for school board that are essentially running as conservatives, and they're able to get enough money from the liberal interests to fund a campaign where they can count on the Democrats in May, but then they get enough money to trick Republicans into thinking they're conservatives. And so if this legislature and the Republican Party wants to see actual conservatives elected to school boards and judges, we absolutely have to go back to partisan elections, which we had for decades and decades until the Republicans took over. And that was one of the first things they switched.
How easy is that to switch?
Very easy. You pass a bill. We passed a bill to switch it. Honestly, the two people that really wanted that were Tim Armstead and Charlie Trump, who are both now on the state Supreme Court. But they were the ones that while they were in the legislature, they'd kind of always wanted to be a judge, and that then for decades it didn't look, they were never going to be able to get there as a Republican against Democrats. And then as soon as we got there, it was like, well, I think this is the way we should do it now. And it just isn't working. It's not, if you actually want to have conservatives in those positions, you're going to have to make them partisan elections again. And I think with those guys no longer in the legislature and at the court, you're going to see people, and you have a bill every year to do it. They haven't acted on it. Mainly because Charlie, Trump said he wasn't going to run it. So without him there, I think when you add in the school boards too, that gets a whole different. There's only a certain amount of people that care about the judicial races. There's more people that probably care about the school board races. I think when you put those together, which is what I'm hearing they're going to do, I think there's a high likelihood that'll happen.
All right, talking with Greg Thomas here. Text says, Greg could not say quite he was for Morrissey, but he totally talks like it.
Well, look, I'm not against him. I was never against. I don't really like the guy that much, you know what I mean? But I don't have to, right? I do this for a living. It's not my job to like him. I don't need a job in his administration. I don't need any favors from him. What I want to do is look at the agenda he's going to put forward. And I know there's a couple things that I've heard him say he's going to do. And that's why I referred to kind of flushing out some of the old Democrat machine. I've heard him talk about that. That's something I want to see done. So if Morrissey puts out an agenda of 10 items, there's a high likelihood I'm going to support 8 of them.
All right. Your pick for Senate president, or do you want to do that?
Look, I think that I don't kind of get in the middle of that. Just I work for those. I kind of work for the Senate, so I don't get in the middle of that. Okay. Whoever they want to get, it'll be good. But I expect to see kind of a consensus person that can kind of bring the disparate groups together. That can kind of continue to move, and we've had the most conservative agenda in the country, and we'll continue to do so.
Greg Thomas, I appreciate you being here, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
All right, I'm going to be on Talk Line around 10:30 or so this morning, so catch me there. I'll be away tomorrow. I will be back Friday morning. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM 96.5 FM Charleston and 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.